అమ్మ స్టార్ట్ చేసేద్దాం అమ్మ 10 మినిట్స్ దాటితే ఏమ్మా కొంతమంది జాయిన్ అవ్వలేకపోతున్నా అంటున్నారు ఒక్కసారి చెక్ చేయండి. Respected dignitaries and dear friends and my dear students. Sorry for the inconvenience given to you. Hearty welcome and a fine morning to all of you. Myself, Dr. Uma Devi, Assistant Professor of Commerce and convener of this webinar series. At the outset, let me thank you all for the continuous support and participation, which motivating us to provide qualitative discussions in order to enrich our knowledge. Today, we come forward with the most powerful subject of the present era, information and communication technology and its role in human life. No doubt that without ICT, no survival at the current scenario. The availability and utilization of information is the essence of any civilization. Technology today has undoubtedly playing a significant role in providing all the required information regarding COVID-19 to each and every person and has proved to be very helpful. As we know that the globe is currently gripped by the deadliest and the most widespread pandemic it has faced in over a century. The The current pandemic hits global markets hard, weakening international trade and cooperation, accelerating tendencies of protectionism and nationalism, which had been already on the rise before. The pandemic has had a huge impact on global value chains. Instead of proximity and efficiency, distance and security are the new order of the day. Companies cut supply chains and relocate factories. Governments seal off their economies and hoard vital products. While the trade conflict between the US and China has been dominating international trade in 2019, the current crisis has led to an increase in economic distancing. This trend endangers economic welfare around the world. Key industries including manufacturing, healthcare, public services, retail, transportation, food supply, tourism, media and entertainment are hit hard by the pandemic and are calling for undivided information, interconnected community technology. We live in the information age and everyone should have access to the economical and medical benefits of information technology. Digital technologies supported by ICT infrastructure are helping social activities continue during the pandemic. One of the main characteristics of this global public health crisis is that it most affects offline life. Offline business suffer the most from measures such as staying at home and social distancing. Impressive amounts of social and economic activities have gone online. Businesses were forced to close their doors and students had to stay home from school. But networks put people back to work and school, which lead to surging demand for online office and learning applications. The pandemic has suspended many offline activities, but people are living it up online. ICT has also shown itself to be essential both to bolstering long term resiliency against future pandemics and to resolving the secondary challenges that emerge within a socially distanced environment. However, involving ICT in pandemic relief and prevention carries with its own set of challenges involving transparency, accountability, and privacy. Governments which apply ICT must ensure that far reaching crisis measures do not become permanently entrenched in society and that measures which are taken are deemed fair, proportional, and just. However, the current crisis is accelerating the digitalization of hundreds of thousands of industries. Its impact on networks also allows global operators to consider and plan future oriented network evolution from a new perspective. Network evolutions like 5G and gigabit optical networks can provide high performance and widespread broadband services for individuals, families, and enterprises, and they support ubiquitous connections for everyone's work and personal lives. They will foster the digital transformation of traditional industries for a more robust digital economy. Governments and regulators can help by developing policies and measures that facilitate rapid expansion of and upgrades to ICT infrastructure. Countries and governments must connect and work together to save the life of many. The best way to communicate between continents is to use advanced technical devices and a fast internet connection. On this juncture, we thus associate ITC organ this an than economy during the pandemic outbreak in order to provide some valuable insights about the significance of ICT today and the precautions to be taken to have economic importance. Our principal, Dr. Bhaskaret, joined the webinar due to some other work. Paid to participants. Request Mrs. Sheikh Kwazabi, the co-authors of the webinar series, to introduce today's esteemed resource person, Mr. S. Madhusudan Rao Garu, Technical Director of Digital Informatics Center, APSC, Vijayawada. Man, we are his accessing his vision. Now, what
Hello.
to Shabi?
Hello. Hello, madam. Am I audible, ma'am? Hello.
Yes, yes, yes.
Shall I, ma'am? Should. Hello. Respected dignitaries
Full.
and dear participants. Madam, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Hello. Okay.
yes, Madhu, you are audible.
Yeah,
Respected dignitaries and dear participants. Good morning, all of you. This is Sheikh Khajabi, Assistant Professor of Commerce. It's my privilege to introduce the esteemed resource person, Mr. Sanaboina Madhusudan Rao Garu. He is working as a senior technical director, scientist here with the National Informatics Center, Government of India, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Vijayawada, Andhra Pradesh. He completed his BTech ECE from Andhra University, Visakhapatnam in 1990 with distinction. He completed his PG diploma in Management Information System and Computer Applications from Usmania University, Hyderabad in 1992. And he also completed MBA from Indira Gandhi National University, New Delhi in 1997. He completed MPhil in 2004 from Nagarjuna University, and he also completed Master of Arts in Astrology from Telugu University in 2005. His first appointment was in Gandhinagar district, Gujarat, Gandhinagar, Gujarat, as a district informatics officer in 1994, and he got transferred to Yanam in 1997. After serving 20 years here, he got transferred to NIC AP State Center, Vijayawada in 2018. He was the initiator of all the e-governance projects running in Yanam, and he's designed and developed several e-projects in Yanam, and some of the projects were demonstrated in the International E-Government Summit held in Bangalore in 2003. He was awarded with Rashtriya Gaurav Award, and he has been felicitated several times by the ministers and administrators during the Republic Day and Independence Day celebrations. And he brought Yanam region in the first position in Puducherry UT, implementing the Digital India schemes like Digital Lockers, Jeevan Praman, and e-hospitals, etc. He conducted several awareness programs on cashless transactions in using digital payment in PHIM, net banking, debit cards, credit cards to the employees, to students, and to the self-help groups, Yanam merchant associations, and industries, etc. And made Yanam at the top in Puducherry UT on cashless transactions. Presently, he has been working as HOD of 3 major projects like Computer Aided Registration Department, CARD, and Medical Educative Health Administrative System, MEDHAS, and end-to-end solution to NTR University for Health and Science, and Andhra Pradesh Medical Council online registration, giving online services of registration for doctors. And hope his vast experiences definitely definitely provide and enrich our knowledge. Let us welcome Madhusudan Rao Garu. Welcome you, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello, good morning. Am I audible? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
A very good morning to all the participants, and thank you very much, madam. Can I share my PPT? Madam Umadevi garu, I think we are presenting. Madam, can you stop your sharing so that I can share my PPT? Is it visible to all? Hello?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. Today the topic is that the role of ICT, how it is the navigator of the Indian economy during the pandemic situation. So before I talk, just let me talk a few lines about the current situation. What is the pandemic outbreak? The COVID-19 pandemic in India, actually it's a part of the worldwide pandemic of coronavirus disease 2019. It's called COVID-19. It is actually caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, SARS-CoV-2. So actually this is the main source for this pandemic situation. The first case of the COVID-19 in India, which originated from China, Wuhan, was reported on 30th January 2020. Okay. In fact, if you want to tell actually who is the main root cause of this entire situation for the world is the bat. You see how this is the root cause which is troubling the entire world. Actually, it is not the one. Actually, the human beings who ate this. So this was eaten by this person, and he contacted this, and then it is spreading across. Generally, we don't take such type of foods, but Wuhan, like in China, they like that food very much. So that's why it was originated in China, and from there it spreaded like anything. So the main strength of the virus is the spreading. It is a very fast spreading virus. So let us now just talk about the statistics of COVID-19 cases in India as on today. So just now before 8 o'clock, I had taken this screenshot. The confirmed cases are 36 lakhs 87, and the recovered is 28 lakhs and odd, and active are 7 lakhs and 84. So diseased people are 65,000. Compared to our 130 plus billion population, the figures are okay, but still we are in that pandemic shock situation. So still everything is almost virtually locked. So that is the position now. So now if you talk about the economy, somewhere actually the COVID-19 is affecting the population, the people, but undoubtedly as a background, it is affecting the Indian economy, not only Indian, any national economy. So if you see from March 2020 to present, there is a sharp rise in unemployment because due to lockdown, so many industries they closed it. So naturally, the unemployment has been risen, and stress on supply chains because that due to lockdown, there is no movement of the goods, and there are restrictions from state to state. So supply chain has been affected, and then decrease in government income. Yeah, because government will get the income from the taxes, and if you purchase the things and if you have industries run and cinema halls run and other activities, all these things through GST they'll get. Now there is no income from for the government, and collapse of the tourism industry because nobody is roaming around, nobody is going to places, visiting places, and collapse of the hospitality industries, like nobody is going to hotels to take food. Earlier, every weekend, not only every weekend, nowadays people are very much inclined to go to the hotels for a change, and it's become a habit. But due to the pandemic situation, nobody is able to go to any hotels or restaurants and all, and reduce the consumer activity. So even the big malls are closed. So it's almost everything is everywhere. It is closed and locked. So in fuel consumption also very less, and but a rise in LPG sales because people are almost sitting in the house. So what they are doing, they are themselves cooking and eating. So then naturally the LPG sales are more, and fall in trade with China because we have a policy with making that we don't want to have any sort of business with China because the virus started from China. We want to stop the China goods and all. So you see, just recollect the days how the pandemic situation, the lockdown, during the lockdown, the migrants, we are sitting in houses, but the people who are labor workers and going to other places, other states, and once it is locked means they want to go to their home place. There is no buses, no trains. They are just walking with their goods, and uh, so such situations we have already crossed. In this situation, how the ICT will help the government or the public. So the main topic is here we want to discuss the role of ICT supporting government. So I can say that the role of government generally for the population, we need to give education, employment, and entertainment, and then the services. So primarily these are the areas where the government is looking forward to give the services to the public. So, during this lockdown situation, we are not able to go to offices. We are not able to conduct meetings. We are not able to go to places for a meeting. So, in such situation, if you don't conduct meetings and if you don't take decisions, if you don't implement the policies or the decisions by the government, then we cannot run the government. But still, even though such situation arises, the ICT helped a lot. So I can say that at least some of the tools or the services of ICT which helped a lot to the government. And one of the things, first one I can say that video conferencing, because you cannot go out from your home, but you have to attend the meeting or you have to take some crucial decisions at the government level, highest level. So video conference helped a lot. And similarly, Arogya Setu app, this is a very good mobile application, very useful for the public as well as the government. And artificial intelligence based solutions, they also helped a lot for the government in containing the COVID-19 and taking a good decisions, and webcasting, and for the students and the teachers online classes, for the employees work from home, for the government paperless e-office. So I just want to enlighten how these tools of ICT help the government and how you are involved unknowingly or knowingly, and we are using the technology, even though some of the persons are not very knowing the technology full, but they are now forced to use. So now I will talk about something about our organization NIC, because NIC is the National Informatics Center. It comes under Ministry of Electronics and IT, and it's a Government of India organization established in 1976, playing a crucial role in connectivity during the current lockdown. Had a video conference by the Union Cabinet for the first time using the platform. Generally, Union Cabinet means all the ministers will come to the PM's house or somewhere, and then they will have it sit together and they will take decisions. but due to the lockdown, even they are unable to come. Then NIC provided a video conference services so that the Union Cabinet has been happened for the first time in the our Indian history during lockdown situation. Video conference it happened even from ministers like Nitin Gadkar, he attended from Nagpur, and other ministers from their respective offices in Delhi. Nobody came to a single place, but due to VC, all got together and they conduct the first Union Cabinet meeting. In the same way, PMs conferencing with the CMs and SAR contemporaries, sports persons, heads of the embassies and high commissions. Not only within our India, we are also conducting video conference with other countries and other occasions also using our NIC VC services. Permanent setup at the PM's residence, because he is almost daily at the time. You must be remembering that he asked for the clap, he asked for the making sound at the sometime, and also lightening the lamp, all these things activities he used to come daily or regularly through VC to the public. So permanent setup has been set up at the PM's residence and office, over 1,800 studios across the country, including all state, district capitals and union territories. And also we held 97 EIP sessions since February. Handles back-end solution about and for each state there is a NIC coordinator. So with the NIC video conference, we have given utmost priority for the video conferencing and utmost priority for the VIP sessions. So nowhere the technology means everywhere the technology is giving a crucial, important and very useful tool for the VIPs to give that good services to the public. So you can see how the PM is talking to all the CMs. Okay. And the next one is I can talk about Arogya Setu app. What is Arogya Setu app? It's a mobile application. So it is developed by NIC. It is basically based on the Bluetooth technology. Like, in our mobile, Bluetooth will be there. So with the Bluetooth based COVID-19 tracker, it's launched by the government of India. So mainly it is aimed to help the Department of Health, and also proactively reaching out to informing the users of the application regarding the risk. So what is the use of Arogya Setu app means? If you use this app, it will help you to tell something about how you risk, how much you are exposed to the COVID-19 patients, or how much time you interacted with him or her, or how many people around you are having some symptoms. So all such information the mobile is gathering from other mobiles through the Bluetooth proximity. So it is available on both the Android and iOS. And the beauty of the app is that it is available in 11 languages. And soon it will be expected some more languages also. So even Telugu is also there. This is the Arogya Setu app. So you can download from the Google Play Store. So once the launching that, you can see all these information initially. So what are the benefits of Arogya Setu app? It works on Bluetooth based technology, and actually it tries to determine the risk based on the user's location. So actually it is taking the latitude, longitude of the mobile, where it is. Why? Because so that if the COVID-19 patient is found at some places, then the administration or the department can take immediate action to contain that virus, taking some putting some red zone or containment zones like that, so that it cannot be spread further. So it is taking the location as well as the Bluetooth, and the risk factor. It is based on the data available for that particular location. So it will see in that location how many people are there of these symptoms. Like within 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers for that mobile app, and also keeps the user informed in case he has crossed the paths with the positive COVID-19 case within 6 feet proximity. Suppose you know you don't know anybody who is you don't know whether somebody is coming to you or passing by is having COVID-19 or not, because it is not appearing on the face or body. Then how to find? But we have to come for some service, like for the goods or for the even for the for going to office or any for any other usage. If you want to come out, then without if you know that these people person is having some virus, then we can take some alert test. But we don't know anything about the person by seeing them or by the body language. Then this app will track the record of the other persons. So with that it will assess. So it will assess and tell that it keeps informed that you are prone to this risk, and recommend several measures to the user, such as self-assessment test, social distancing do's and don'ts amid COVID-19. And also it informs the user about the precautionary measures and how to maintain social distancing in the times of global pandemic. So these are the benefits of Arogya Setu app. And this app is also an e-pass facilitating travel from one place to another. Even in our office, and the government of India also has declared that this Arogya Setu app is the it's pass. It's a kind of pass to enter into the government offices. If the status is safe, then you are allowed to work in. If it is a risk, you should not enter into the hospital, into the offices. Like that, if any person is coming to offices to meet any person, they must show the status of his mobile app, Arogya Setu app status. If it is safe, means he will be allowed. Otherwise, they will not be allowed. So it will be like an e-pass. And also this app will advise him or her to go for a test at a nearby testing center and call the toll-free number immediately if the user at high risk. Equipped with a chatbot that answers all the questions. Sometimes you have some questions to questions like I have some cough. Is it a COVID? I have some fever. Is it a COVID or not? Or I have the symptoms. What to do, like that. So for that, you need not call any person. Chatbot is there, so it will help you. I would like to share my experience of this Arogya Setu app. It happened to me. Actually, I installed Arogya Setu app, and I thought that actually in that there is self-assessment test. So it is asking you, do you have cough? Yes or no? I said no. Do you have fever? Yes or no? No. So all the questions I put no, no, no. Of course, I don't have any issue. That's why I put no. Then it says that your status is safe. It came in green color. I thought that, okay, what is the fun? If I put no, only it is coming. If I put S, means S, then nobody is testing me. Then I don't have much opinion on this app. But what happened? I think in May, first week, I got a phone call from some person. He asked me, "Sir, do you have fever?" I said, "No." "Do you have cough?" "No." "Do you have any throat pain?" "No." Okay, you tell the same thing. Some department person will call you. You tell the same thing. Okay, then some department person called me. Same questions he asked. I said no, 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 for all questions. Then she told that okay, tomorrow morning 11:30 you come to the primary health center near Magalrajpuram for COVID test. Then I asked, why, madam? I don't have any symptoms, but why you are asking me? No, your number is reflected in Arogya Setu mobile server. You are interacted with 5 people, with 5 COVID-19 patient people. That's why you are very much you are at high risk. You should come and take the test. Then that night I didn't have any sleep, and morning I went there. They did the COVID test. Fortunately, I got negative, but I really thrilled. So this app is this app caught me, because I don't know the persons really. So this person got me that I did some R&D on this mobile app. Then I found that I can even see my contacts list also. So if I click on that, I am able to see at what time, how much time I interacted with that COVID-19 patient. So location and time also it is coming. So like that, it is very useful tool. how to download. If you go to Google Play Store, you can have Arogya Setu app. You can download the app. And how to find out if you have COVID-19 symptoms using Arogya Setu app. If you how to find out the symptoms with this app. Just open the app. Now look for a self-assessment button on the bottom of your screen. After clicking the button, you will be inquired about your gender, age, and then you experience symptoms like cough, fever, difficulty in breathing. And they will ask about do you have any diabetes, hypertension, lung disease, or heart diseases. After that, now the test will inquire about your travel history. For the past 14 days, have you traveled any other place, any other state, any other area, and the name and all. After that, you will be asked whether you have lived with a COVID-19 hit patient, or if you are a health worker and examined a positive COVID-19. So all such questions it will be asked, and you should ask very honestly, because it is the questionnaire for your health. If you deceive, if you cheat them, and you are cheating yourself. Once you answer the questions, the app will tell you about the infection risk. And how to use the Arogya Setu app. Download the Arogya Setu app from Google Play Store for Android users or App Store for iOS users. And select a language. So you can select your local language also. Switch on the Bluetooth and location from settings of your phone. If you don't do also, when you open the Arogya Setu app, it will alert. Please make Bluetooth on and location on. And set location sharing to always from your phone settings. So that whenever you are moving, it will catch the neighbors. You will now be asked to register. Click on the register. So click on I agree button. You will now be asked for your mobile number. You have to give your mobile number, and the OTP will come, and you have to enter the OTP. After that, you can assess. You can take the self-assessment test and read the guidelines. So that is the method how to use the Arogya Setu app. You see here, if it comes like you are safe means safe. Suppose if you moved with some COVID-19 patients unknowingly, then you will have such a orange color high risk status. So if you get like this means immediately you have to go for testing. Okay. So this is about the low risk infection, and it will tell how to take self-assessment and how to maintain the social distance. All these things are very educative and informative regarding the COVID. So nowadays it is very, very important. So what are the issues and responses of the Arogya Setu app? The app fetches user location on a few occasions. So response actually clearly detailed in the privacy policy, reproducing the same for everyone's benefit. A user location is fetched and stored in the server in a secure, encrypted, anonymous manner. The user location fetched at the time of registration, self-assessment, or when the user submits his contact tracing data voluntary through app. So this is very actually your location, because it's your privacy matter. You can move wherever place you want. Then you may ask why the app should find out my privacy, means my location. That means that is for our health conscious only it is asking, but it is not shared to anybody. Okay, it is fetched and it is secured and encrypted in a server. User can get the COVID-19 statistics displayed on home screen by changing the radius and latitude longitude using script. So the radius parameters are fixed and can only take one of the 5 values. See, you can have the statistics from your house or wherever you are. From there, within 500 meters, how many patients are low risk, high risk? Like that, 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers. You can see the statistics, so that you will come to know how actually surroundings, how bad or how good or how moderate it is, so that you can take a good decision to come out or not. Any other value as a part of the distance gets defaulted to 1 kilometer. The user can change the latitude longitude to get the data for multiple locations. Actually, it is done through API. The API call through is behind a web application firewall, and hence bulk calls are not possible. Getting data for multiple latitude longitude is the way. This way is no different than asking several people of their locations, because we cannot ask the people where you have gone or how many which are the places you have gone yesterday or before yesterday, nobody can remember. So through this mobile app, it is fetching the locations also. So even you can see the the contact numbers of the each state. Now come to next part is artificial intelligence based solutions for this academy for the during the pandemic situation. So NIC has been developing so many e-governance applications. So this chatbot integrated with COVID-19 complaint management system via 1950 helpline in Jharkhand. It captures grievances related to COVID-19 suspects, test centers, shelter homes, law and order, PDA shops, and LPG delivery, etc. So for this chatbot, they used the artificial intelligence technology. So with that, in Jharkhand, they used to track the COVID-19 suspects, centers, and shelter homes, all these things. Similarly, Vani COVID-19, a multilingual chatbot has been developed to address the COVID-19 related queries for the people of Meghalaya in English and their local language of Khasi and Garo languages. Like that, mobile web-based application ensuring social distancing and delivery of essential services during lockdown. In Jharkhand, Bazaar mobile app developed by NIC Ranchi offers MPAS with predefined time slots to buyers and merchants for purchases and delivery in lockdown, ensuring market does not get crowded. Because now government during the lockdown time, what happened? They relaxed some 6 to 9 or 6 to 10 time for the public to go and purchase the goods. So what happened? All are going to the same market with a huge crowd. Actually, we daily were going and getting the virus like that. It was happened. So to avoid that crowd, you can see in the mobile itself how much crowd it is there and which place is having less crowd. All these things you can track using this Bazaar mobile app. So it will be more useful for the public so that by seeing the crowd, they can take the decision when to go or where to go. Similarly, horticulture produce marketing portal developed by NIC Odisha helps traders in purchasing the surplus horticulture produce available with the farmers in the lockdown COVID-19. So this is the Jharkhand mobile Bazaar app, and this is the 1950. It's a helpline call. So if you call this, it is connected to all the LPG, law and order, all the services, grocery services. So the helpline will give you the relevant answers to your questions based on these areas. So even AI-based chatbot also for banking for chatbots are helping a lot. So the typical technological architecture I am showing. Yes, now come to webcast. Webcast is actually if you want to telecast any event, because now if any public government wants to conduct any meeting, it has to be so many people used to come to that place and view the function. But now due to the lockdown and the pandemic situation, there is no permission for the conducting meetings or gathering. So through webcast, webcasting means that they can telecast through web, means online telecast. So NIC is having webcast services. With that, we can transmit of live or pre-recorded audio or video to personal computers that are connected to the internet. So just like in a mobile or in a computer, we can see the live webcast. So live webcasts are most suitable for high demand live presentations to large geographical distances. For example, for the 15 August, means August 15th PM, this August 15th, he wants to give his speech and flag hoisting and all. So even it is restricted to very, very limited, some hundreds of people only. So it is live webcasted. So people can see through their mobile or laptop. Participant can attend these virtual presentations from their desktop by visiting website. Interaction between instructor and learners also is possible. And participants can use a chat window to type in questions. Even they can type some questions in the presentation. Webcast simulate the look and feel of a live event and can even be recorded for later viewings for those who missed the original webcast. So it's very useful if you miss it also, that you can see the recorded version also. On-demand webcast is there. Pre-recorded clips are delivered or streamed to users upon request. Suppose if a user clicks on a link, on-demand clip watches the clip from the beginning, the user can fast forward, rewind, or pause the clip. So therefore, on-demand streams can be created from archived live events. And in similar way, multimedia presentations over the www. So synchronized multimedia integration language, SMIL, SMILE, enables simple authoring of the interactive audiovisual presentations. So all these services we have provided to the government, especially to the VIPs, for the webcasting services. So it saves a lot of money and time also. So you see International Yoga Day and Rashtriya Swachhata Kendra, even in Kerala, the competition of the boards and even and the global meetings, Honorable President of India. Yeah, now come to the next affected people are students and the teachers, the education institutions. So all the schools, colleges are closed right from March onwards. Actually, students have to write the examinations, but the examination are not happened. So no colleges. So now students are lazy in the house, but to save the, at least the syllabus can be, the teachers can take the classes through online mode to cover the syllabus. So almost all the universities and the colleges are using the online classes mode. Earlier, nobody touched this method or this technology or the tool, because we are almost habituated to come to one place classroom and the teacher will tell and listen. But now this is the need of the hour. Schools across the country have been physically shut since March. Classes are conducted online and links to online study materials. Even, you can see the video classes, and also the material in PDF format or video format are stored in some repository and they can download. So it is sent through WhatsApp or mails and SMS. While countries are at different points in their COVID-19 infection rates, worldwide there are currently more than 1.2 billion children in 186 countries affected by school closures. So different learning techniques being used, YouTube, Zoom, Google, so many things. Even Kendriya Vidyalaya Sangathan has deployed Swayam Prabha portal, which has lectures and DTH, direct to home. And few states are trying to tap Doordarshan to remove access barriers. Even through Doordarshan also, some universities are conducting the classes. E-learning poses a challenge to teachers, students, and their parents over technology and access. That is why the effectiveness of the instructors cannot be analyzed, and also not every student is joining the virtual classes. There are some problems with the online classes. Even at my home, I am seeing that my children are giving attendance, and then that classes will be running, and they are viewing some movies or some chatting. So at least physically, they may not be really concentrating on the topic, but it will be useful later point, at least if they want to see the material and all, it will be more useful. And some problems are there, like in some areas net problem is not there, and some people are not able to maintain the this mobile, means all the people are not having good mobiles also. And for in a home, suppose 3-4 students are there, means each should have a separate mobile. So those problems are also there. But anyway, this is one of the technology where it will bring together teachers and the students. You can see how they are doing the children. And the next one is the employees. So everything is shut down and locked down during the pandemic situation, especially from March to even up to June, July. So we have to work some see, if employees are not working government especially, then government cannot implement the services, and they cannot face the challenges by these health problems. So especially IT industries can have the work from home because any work can be done through online. So during the lockdown, Indian IT industries made employees work from home as per government's mandate. Even government has is always encouraging to go for a work from home because of this pandemic situation. As a result, about 90% of employees work from home, with 65% of them from homes in metros and rest 35 from homes in small towns. During the lockdown, the IT industry transitioned to work from home model, rather smoothly providing business continuity. In fact, especially for IT companies in a private sector, it is very useful and gainful to them because they need not have any office environment, paying so much rent and current bill and AC, all these things, maintenance and also. So all the employees will be sitting in their home, and even for employees also, they need not travel all the way to the office in the heavy traffic time and spending a lot of money for the fuel and time, and they are exhausted by the evening. So they are happy, and industries are happy, and work is, in fact, we are expecting more work from them because of the work from home model. Because if you go to the office means at least 10 to 5, that restriction is there. But since you are from work from home, anytime they can call and anytime you have to give, and you also don't have any work now, so you are concentrating more. So it's a good sign, in fact, during that time. Two reasons for the smooth transitions are IT industry strict adherence to quality processes and availability of communication bandwidth both from homes in metros. At least 74% of people in India say they will continue to work from home. So that is the beauty of this. You see, the reality is holding the baby and taking the coffee and doing the work. So they are leisurely. So work from home is really a good tool for employees so that they can save money and time, and they can be more relaxed. And come to the e-office. Actually, e-office is a paperless office. Earlier, everything is going through paper. If you have to put an application, you have to write a letter or application. You have to put some documents as attachment, and then submitting to one section. From there, he will write some comments, and he will go to section by section and to highest boss, and then from there it is come to the lowest section, again dispatching the service to the public. So now with this pandemic situation, people are unable to come to the office. So now they open all online services. Even internally, all the office work has been done through e-office. E-office is nothing but a digital workplace solution comprising of a suite of products that paves the way for an efficient and open government. So you can streamline the workflow. It's like both inter and intra government, intra office activities, and also the output to be given to the public also. Everything managed. The product is built on open architecture. So the e-office product aims to support governance by ensuring a more effective and transparent intra-government process, because we can see easily actually where the file is, what he has written, and what are the attachments. So there is no, the entire all the files are in digital mode. So anybody can see the same file, the same matter. There is no such thing that at one section some papers are gone. Somebody has written something. Even somebody has removed some paper. Such cannot be done. So this e-office is a very useful for the intra-based and inter-based, means within the government, within the office, and to the public related services also. So the vision of e-office is to achieve a simplified, responsive, effective, and transparent working for all government offices. Now, in fact, this was there earlier also, but people have some 40% of this e-office and the remaining 60% from the public through manual only. But now, due to the pandemic situation, now government is forced to use e-office. So this e-office helped a lot, because this e-office can be used right from working at your home itself. So you can log in and do whatever the work. Even the file is coming to your login through an PDF format. You can have a digital signature. So everything is happening like, how you do it manually. It is happening through in an electronic way, and it is a very transparent, and what where the file is and what he has written and when is to be dispatched and where it is pending, everything it is very easy to be monitored. So the open architecture on which e-office has been built makes it a reusable framework and a standard reusable product amenable to replication across the governments at the central, state, and district. So the e-office is connecting from district to state, state to even central. So this chaining system, so right from sitting at the mandala or even village itself, the application, the communication of the file can move right from the village to district to state to central level in the reverse way. So this is the e-office architecture and files, document, policies, forms, guidelines, access circulars. So this is the product of NIC. So we have been implementing in all the states. That's it. Thank you. Madam?
Madam, you can take on. Madam, Sridevi, madam, you can go ahead, madam. Sridevi, madam.
Sridevi? 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 Sridevi, Sridevi, చోట ఆవిడ ఫోన్ ఎత్తట్లేదమ్మా. కసబికి ఫోన్ చేశాను, ఎత్తట్లేదు తను. ఓకే ఓకే ఓకే. కాజు 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 వినిపిస్తుందా? కాజు ఏం వినపడట్లేదు. ఒక్కసారి తన లాగౌట్ అయ్యి మళ్ళీ ఒక్కసారి ఎంటర్ అవ్వమని, లేదా
Hello.
శ్రీదేవి, శ్రీదేవి, getting my voice? Yeah, Sridevi, please.
Hello. Ma'am.
Sridevi, you are audible. Yeah, you are audible. Yeah,
Ma'am,
you can continue.
Shall I continue?
Yeah, continue.
Yes, ma'am.
Please.
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Shall I continue?
Yeah, you can continue. You are audible.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Okay. Respected dignitaries and dear students, good morning, one and all. This is V. Sridevi, Assistant Professor of Commerce, one of the coordinator of this webinar. Yeah, madam. వినబడుతుందా?
Yeah. Getting. Sridevi.
మేడం వీడియో ఆఫ్ చేయండి. వీడియో
On
ఆఫ్
the
చేయండి.
behalf of Department of Commerce, Dr. SRK, Government of College, and my own behalf, extend a very hearty and sincere vote of thanks to all the participants. Thank you, one and all. At the outset, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude and thanks to the eminent speaker and our resource person, Mr. S. Madhusudan Rao Garu, for delivering wonderful and insight addresses. Shall I continue?
Yeah, Sridevi, you can continue. Sridevi, you are audible. You can continue. Yeah, definitely. You can continue, Sridevi.
Shall I continue?
Yeah, Sridevi.
Yes, ma'am. You can continue, ma'am.
Hello. Sridevi. हाँ छोटा.
హలో కాదు అయిపోయిందా?
Sridevi. 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 Sridevi.
మేడం వినబడుతుందా?
వినిపిస్తుందమ్మా.
హలో, కెన్
కంటిన్యూ
యూ హియర్
చేసేయండి.
మీ? కంటిన్యూ చేసేనా?
Yes, madam, you are.
ఓకే.
Yeah,
Madam,
we are
please
able to hear you.
continue.
Yeah. I would
Yeah, you can continue.
at the outset, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude and thanks to the eminent speaker and our resource person, Mr. S. Madhusudan Rao Garu, for delivering wonderful and insightful address. Sir, your eminent presence has indeed made this event a memorable one, and we unitedly thank you for your valuable and thoughtful words. Your words provided valuable information in reviewing the role of ICT in Indian economy. Thank you, sir. I extend special thanks to our principal, Dr. V. Bhaskar Reddy Garu, for his support and encouragement in organizing the webinar series. Sir, thank you very much for your kind acceptance to deliver the to give us the permission. I extend my sincere thanks to HOD of Commerce, organizing committee members, IQAC coordinator, and all the faculty members for their contribution towards the grand success of this program. I would like to thank the coordinators of this webinar series, Mrs. Sheikh Khazabi and myself, for the continuous support for the success of the webinar. I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to convener of the webinar series, Dr. R. Umadevi Madam, for her initiative and continuous support and effort. Last but not the least, our sincere thanks to Mr. Silaruddin Sheikh in the success of the Stay Home, Stay Safe, Stay Connected for the upcoming. Once again, thank you to all participants. Sorry for the this work was not convenient for me to access. Sorry, and thank you one and all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your kind cooperation and participation. And sorry for the inconvenience due to some technical problems. Some technical issues have arisen, so a little bit inconvenience. Thank you for bearing with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your valuable address. Thank you so much. Thank you, Singh sir. Hi, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, fill the feedback form in chat box, sir. We shared the feedback form in chat box. All of you fill the feedback form with no errors, please. Thank you.